I know Little Mac always has been a bad character, but after seeing Mockrock's video about the worst designed characters in Ultimate, seeing him in second place really got me thinking about just how poorly Little Mac was handled in Smash. Now I do not hate this character at all. I love this character. In fact, I main this character. And if you're anything like me, you look at patch notes for updates, just really hoping that your favorite character got a good number of buffs.
Yes! 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 Come to pop!
Now Little Mac did have one share of a bunch of changes, that being in patch 3.1.0, which had a lot of nice changes, but he definitely needs more if he wants to be a good character. I am here today to point out the ways that Little Mac can be improved, but this doesn't mean that everything I'm going to suggest today is a buff. Yes, I'm actually proposing a nerf and a couple of reworks to moves, and these will be some significant changes, but I do believe they are necessary ones. Before I start, do understand that I'm no expert at this game. I'm not a god tier Mac player and I'm no game designer. I'm just some dude who wants to see his favorite character become better, or at least be better represented. It's clear that Little Mac was intended to be the boxing character, but I feel like Sakura and his team should have focused more on making him the punch-out character he is, and I will be using the punch-out games to explain some of the changes I will propose. I'll provide timestamps in the description for each section, since I'll be jumping around the different moves he has. Without further ado, let's begin. KO Punch. Little Mac having KO Punch as a special meter move wasn't a bad idea. You basically had two different options for meter, those being stars or KO meter, and I think KO was the better option. Stars require getting specifically timed punches under special conditions to achieve, and implementing that in a fighting game wouldn't be very easy. And since you're fighting either CPU or an actual person, and not a scripted opponent, it would just make it unfair. So we have KO Punch. The problem with KO Punch in Smash is that it isn't representative of how it works in the Punch-Out games at all. The only real way it's accurate is the uppercut the KO meter gives you. Let me explain how KO Punch works in the Punch-Out games, and I'll use the SNES Super Punch-Out as our main example here. In the Punch-Out games, the meter is gained through successive hits dealt to the opponent. As long as you're able to prevent any hits from landing on you, your bar will keep going up until it's full, granting you access to the enhanced uppercut, which can be used to deal finishing damage, but it is a risky move to use, since missing can leave you more vulnerable than any other attack you have. Using your KO uppercut doesn't lower the bar, but if you take damage, the meter goes down. This is basically how KO Punch works in the Punch-Out games. And now let's compare it to KO Punch in Smash. This move is charged through a combination of damage dealt and taken, with the dominant one being damage taken. 333 damage dealt alone to fill the bar, and 100 damage taken alone to fill the bar. Once the bar is full, you're fine for the first few seconds, but once you have taken damage after those few seconds, it's gone. In Punch-Out, KO Punch is supposed to extend your lead and act as a combo finisher. In Smash, because of how taking damage is the primary factor to filling the bar, it's a comeback move. KO as a comeback move just isn't accurate. Comebacks in Punch-Out are entirely dependent on skill, with the KO meter basically being a reward for picking yourself back up. It's not a busted coin flip move that you can use when you're getting your ass handed to you so you can use it as a last ditch attack. What they did with KO Punch meter was basically retcon an already established mechanic that really didn't need to be changed. What I want is for KO Punch to be completely reworked so that it is much more accurate to its Punch-Out counterpart. Here are the changes I'm suggesting. We remove the damage taken aspect part of filling the bar and instead make that the way the bar decreases. Let's say 75% damage dealt to fill the bar and 100% taken to drain the bar. These numbers aren't really the easiest to assign since I can't really test what I'm saying, but I would like the damage taken number to be higher so that you wouldn't always have to be winning in order to get your KO Punch. The next change I'm proposing is that we make it so that if you use your KO Punch, the bar doesn't go down at all, just like in Punch-Out. What this does is allow you to think about how you want to use KO Punch, but doesn't pressure you into using it carelessly, since getting hit won't just drain the entire bar and make you start back again at zero. Now I can hear a bunch of you guys asking if you want me to give Little Mac practically infinite instant death punches, and the answer to that is no. So as a counterbalance, we're going to raise the damage percent threshold for when this move will kill, as well as half the damage. The fact that this move kills so early is stupid. Even if the end lag is pretty extreme, dying to an unblockable move at 30% isn't fun at all. In Punch-Out, KO Punch on its own isn't going to do a lot of damage to your opponents. especially against the later ones. Look at this dude taking multiple KO punches and barely taking any damage from it. Instant knockdowns with KO Punch in Punch-Out require special setups, and those setups don't exist in fighting games, so I want to decrease the power of the move as compensation. Here's what I'm thinking of in terms of that nerf. So here he is, Super Mario Bros., the plumber that never plums. You know him, you love him. As it is now, KO Punch will kill Mario at about 25%. Let's raise this kill percent to be somewhere from 60 to 70%. I feel like this would be the best threshold for KO Punch to kill. Any lower, and the move would still kill too early, and any later, the move's risk would outweigh the reward as you could use other, less end lag heavy moves to take stocks at those percents. We will still retain the high end lag and 100% drain of the bar at the loss of a stock, since those parts of the move are in Punch-Out as well. And we leave the breakthrough shields mechanic. I also want to touch on the aerial version and increase his kill power to be at least closer to his grounded version. One last thing to say about KO Punch is that it may get in the way of his normal neutral B if you want to use it, so I would try to split the moves by having to hold down the B button for a short time to use neutral B and quickly tap the B button to use KO Punch. Given the game's natural input delay, I don't see this as too much of an issue. So, now we have a move that both better represents Punch-Out and is less annoying to deal with. It's a win-win. Now we move on to Little Mac's smash attacks, but before I say what I want changed about his smash attacks, let me just make sure you understand what Punch-Out is all about. There are a few very important concepts you must understand when playing, and those are defense, timing, and counterattacking. In regular boxing, you have the ability to initiate the attack and force your opponent into defense. In Punch-Out, the game heavily discourages you from just throwing out jabs and hooks for the sake of getting damage. You have to pay attention to when your opponent attacks and react accordingly. This is where I start to have problems with Little Mac's smash attacks, and it's solely because of one thing, that being super armor. Little Mac having super armor on his smash attacks promotes a very spammy playstyle of just throwing out high damage smash attacks that are easier to get away with than when you're using almost any other character. The fact that it's a strategy that can work because of the super armor just is not Punch-Out at all. Plus, it's super annoying to deal with because you, the opponent, may get your plan ruined of approaching because Little Mac decided to flick his stick left and kill you. Also, it's dangerous for you, the Little Mac, to rely on your super armor to fight your opponent because you still take full damage when using it. With heavyweights like Bowser, Donkey Kong, K. Rool, super armor makes some sense because they're canonically heavy characters, and since they are some of the heaviest in the game, it means you can take damage and be fine since you're going to lift a higher percents anyway. With Little Mac, you're already really lightweight, so that damage you take might just screw you over in the long run. So, what do I suggest we do about super armor? Get rid of it. His smash attacks are already versatile moves, and they can do their job just fine without the armor. Using the armor is a strategy that is bad for both sides of the fight because it's annoying, and the downside of taking all the damage can bite you in the ass later on. There are also a couple of little changes I want done with his smash attacks. Up smash could get a very slightly increased hitbox size on the fist to be able to reliably reach opponents on stages with platforms that are slightly higher than the ones on Battlefield, such as Smashville or Pokemon Stadium 2. Also, I want his downward angled forward smash to be given a couple of buffs. One of those being its shield stun. At this point, basically none of Mac's moves are safe on shield, so giving the dedicated shield fighting move a bit more shield stun can give Mac a bit more against shields. Also, I want his shield damage to be increased, just a little bit. Why? Because if I'm going to stand still at one spot, completely exposed, charging move that isn't even going to kill, and my opponent doesn't stop me from fully charging it, if they decide to stand in front of me and shield the move, they deserve to get it broken. Those are the small changes to his smash attacks that would be nice. But again, the removal of super armor is the big thing here. It's a way to make the moves less frustrating while also keeping the idea of Punch-Out in mind, which ties into another big problem I have with Mac, and that is his lackluster defensive options. His roll and his air dodge are both just not that great, and some slight adjustments can make them much better. Let's take a look at his roll first. His forward roll is intangible from frames 4 to 12, meaning a total of 9 frames, making it the roll with the least amount of intangibility frames in the game, shared with Fox, Sheik, and ZSS. The same goes for his backwards roll, frames 4 to 14, a total of 11 frames, also the lowest in the game, shared with the same characters. What makes it worse is that even though Little Mac's roll travels the furthest forward and about the same backwards, he throws himself a significant distance in the first few frames of the roll before he becomes invincible, while the others barely travel any distance before becoming invincible. This means that trying to roll past things like projectiles and other attacks become harder for Mac because he ends up throwing himself into those hitboxes because of the distance he travels before the intangibility frames kick in. His invincibility frames seem to have the smallest fraction of distance compared to the others, and that sucks for a character that was built as a ground-based character. The way we can fix his rolls is by giving him an extra frame of intangibility at the start of rolls, as well as a couple of frames at the end, making the rolls invincible from frames say 3 to 14 and 3 to 15. This will give Little Mac an easier time dodging opposing attacks and make the defense part of his character more prevalent. His air dodge is a bit of a different story, however. He continues to have a comparatively low number of tangibility frames, with both his neutral and directional air dodges, but the problem stems from the fact that his air dodge barely takes him anywhere. The distance traveled for directional air dodges is almost universal, with only a couple characters traveling less distance than almost everybody else. One of those being Little Mac, traveling the least distance with his air dodge. This makes air dodging towards the ledge extremely risky because chances are that you won't be able to grab the ledge unless you're in the perfect position, and even if you are, the vulnerability frames that Mac has between air dodging and grabbing the ledge is the highest in the game. Most characters can use their air dodges to extend and help with recoveries, but Mac has a really hard time utilizing his air dodge to do that. It would be the best to increase his air dodge distance to match almost everyone else in the game, as well as decreasing the vulnerability frames a little bit, making defending yourself and recovering an easier job. It just feels weird to me to see Mac have these polarizing traits, those being in his rolls, air dodges, and smash attacks. In Punch-Out, the entire point of having to play a character like Little Mac is that you don't win through brute force, but through being able to properly dodge and block attacks and counter through the use of proper timing. Poor defensive options and super armored smash attacks basically spits in the face of this idea, so making these changes would further represent the Punch-Out series better. There are also a couple more quality of life changes I would like to see given to Little Mac. One of those being his jump height. What this would fix is his ability to safely get onto platforms. In stages like Smashville and Pokemon Stadium 2, you basically have to burn both your jumps to get onto those platforms. This leaves you really high in the air after the second jump and could put you in a really tight spot if you get attacked out of it. His low jump height just makes it harder to challenge people on platforms, which is where Mac struggles in his current state. It's just weird seeing someone who looks like Little Mac have such a short jump height. I mean, look at him, he's absolutely ripped, and he's canonically only 107 pounds. You cannot tell me that a man of this structure wouldn't have some serious hops. Compare his jump height to everyone else who jumps lower than him, and I'll explain why their lower jump heights make sense. Jigglypuff and Kirby both have 6 jumps. Snake is strapped head to toe in military gear, and Ganondorf is just no mobility to the character. A slightly higher jump height would help a lot. Just a unit or two would be great. Also, for being a lightweight character, he falls pretty damn fast. Why does he fall as fast as DDD? That doesn't make sense. The only character that falls faster than Mac is Fox, who, yes, is even lighter than Mac, but he's able to use his extreme fall speed to pull off combos like no one else can using aerials, and Little Mac has no aerials. A slightly slower falling speed would be helpful with recovery. Faster air acceleration could help as well, but reduced fall speed combined with a better air dodge could give Mac an easier time defending himself in the air and an easier time recovering. Now let's move on to his tilts. This is where it becomes less about Punch-Out and just improving what he has. I'm not going to talk about his jab or his dash attack, since there's really nothing wrong with them. You may think the glitched gentleman jab is something that Mac should be given back, and as much as I'd like that, a confirmed 50% out of a frame 1 move is a little bit too much. Back to his tilts. I have no issues with his forward tilt, it does its job pretty well. But then we have up tilt and down tilt, both of which were significantly nerfed during the transition from Smash 4 to Ultimate. And given that max tilts are his safest and most reliable moves, that says a lot. First, let's talk about up tilt. It can't really combo into anything anymore, and the hit stun is too low at extremely early percents, meaning that you can get punished for landing up tilt if your opponent has a fast aerial at their disposal, or they can literally just air dodge. I feel like just making it the same as it was in Smash 4 would be the best thing to do with it, which basically means making it deal more damage and giving it a higher hit stun. which would allow it to combo more easily into things like side B, up B, and itself. Maybe even have it more easily combo to things like up air and neutral air to mix things up a bit. Next, down tilt. I don't think a complete reversion of the Smash 4 version is necessary, but I'd like it to be almost the same as that version, because it basically lost everything it had going for it from Smash 4. Its increased end lag and less shield stun is what basically killed the move, making a lot of max Smash 4 combos either barely functional or non-existent in Ultimate. As it is now, down tilt to side B is true, but only at very specific percents, and those percents won't kill anyway. Less end lag can make comboing into side B at kill percent much more reliable, as well as just making it an overall better combo tool to work with. Down tilt to KO punch reliably and down tilt to forward air as a tech chase were all the combos that Mac had, and it would be nice to see them back, but we can leave down tilt to up B out of this, which I'll explain my reasoning for later. Lastly, a slight increase in its shield stun could give Mac another safer move on shield. You can basically shield everything Mac throws at you for free, so down tilt, along with the improved downward angled forward smash, can make dealing with shields easier. Now, let's talk about his aerials, and at this point don't even think about Punch Out. You can't attack in the air in those games at all, he just needs more options. I'm not going to turn him into an air fighter, no, he doesn't need an Ike Nair or a Falcon Knee or anything like that, but he definitely needs a few decent aerials that he can make more use out of. First, his neutral air. The whole concept of having a frame 2 aerial that can be used 3 times out of a short hop is just really cool. Too bad it kinda sucks. It definitely has its uses, but it's pretty unreliable. Giving it slightly higher hit stun, a slightly bigger hitbox, the ability to drag your opponents horizontally, or all 3 of these, can make neutral air much better at air combos and breaking out of combos. It just sucks to see the fastest aerial in the game end up being pretty underutilized. Next is forward air. What I would like to see is the angle of launch to be just a tiny bit more horizontal. It can combo into things like down tilt at very early percents, set up tech chases at mid percents, and set up edge guarding opportunities near the ledge. Angling the launch angle down can really help forward air do these things better, making it a good combo tool. An increased hitbox size can also help make it easier to land. Next is back air. Wow, this move is hot garbage. It's basically forward air, but much worse, since it's slower and has a less reliable hitbox.
Bruh.
It's such an unsatisfying move to land, especially since you get nothing out of it, and it's just so difficult to land in the first place. A significant increase in damage and knockback can make this move actually decent. The same goes for up air, which is equally as useless. An increased amount of damage and knockback could make this move rewarding, and make it easier for you to challenge people on platforms trying to camp you out. The back air and up air you see in Vishera's video about modded Mac aerials are pretty much what I want to see given to Mac, just maybe toned down a little bit. Keep the back air as a frame 11 move and lower the startup time and knockback on up air a bit, and then we're talking. For his down air, I honestly think that it should just stay as it is. Of course, we could make it a much stronger move, like how it is in Vishera's video, or just give him a Ryu down air, but as it is now, it can be used as a jab block and help with tech chases. But the best part is just how weak the spike is. I mean, I wish it spiked all the time, but actually managing to gib someone with this thing is hilarious. Next up are Little Mac's grabs. So, his grab is a bit of an interesting topic for me. I hear many people say that his grab is terrible in every single aspect, and while I do disagree with that statement, I do think he should get more out of his grab. His standing grab comes out on frame 9, the slowest in the game, with his dash and pivot grabs coming out on frames 13 and 14 respectively, which also is some of the slowest in the game. It's a grab that seems to reference Bear Hugger's grab, where he extends his arms outwards and tries to hug you, which is pretty slow. In this sense, I'm okay with the fact that Mac has a slow grab, especially with the roll boosting technique that can give your grab more ground to cover. And it does look like Bear Hugger's grab, but the problem with the grab itself is that the range kinda sucks. This is pretty true for a lot of grabs in the game, but it hurts Little Mac a lot because of how slow it is. Increasing it by just a little bit can make grabbing people a lot easier. I'm honestly surprised that a character that was designed to be ground-based has such a bad grab, even if he is a boxer. With such a slow grab, there definitely needs to be more reward for getting it, since Mac doesn't get a lot out of his throws as they are now. That's not to say that he gets nothing, because his down throw actually has quite a few uses. It can be used under platforms as mid percents to start tech chases, and down throw actually combos into up B and kills. granted that the opponent doesn't DI the throw. If they do, then this move doesn't combo at all. I want this throw to be much less DIable, as a means of acting as a semi-replacement for Mac's old down tilt to up B combo. I don't want down tilt to up B because that was basically free anywhere on stage. You can still use down tilt to set up to up B as it is now, using a technique known as the Dempsey tilt, which is where you land the shoulder hitbox to the down tilt, done by doing a turnaround cancel down tilt, landing a down tilt after sliding spot dodge, or by catching a roll from ledge with the hitbox. These setups launch the opponent straight up, so it can combo into up B. It's difficult, but it's there. What I'm saying is that there should be a little more work involved with getting this kill confirmed, and this way you would have two different methods. One that needs technical skill, and one that requires a lot of risk, but both would be reliable if pulled off. That's all down throw really needs to be good, just less DI ability. Next is forward throw. It has a pretty niche use as a tech chase starter at mid percents, but it's not very good at its job. I would like to make forward throw have a similar role to forward air, where the launch angle would be low enough that it could start tech chases a lot, and set up for edge guarding opportunities easier, or even potentially kill someone who has a bad recovery. Now for his back throw. It's as simple as increasing its kill power. If we look at Super Mario Bros. Again, he dies to Mac's back throw at the ledge reliably around 170%. But increasing the amount to say 130, 120% would make it a better move. You can basically go anywhere with these throws, so I just made down throw, the combo throw, forward throw, the tech chase throw, and back throw, the kill throw. As for up throw, just leave it. Not every throw Mac has needs to be super good, and really, no one in the game makes use out of all of their throws, so there's really no reason Little Mac should. Lastly, I'll go over the rest of Mac's specials, starting with his neutral B. Straight lunge is just terrible. It's about as effective as you expect these big B button moves to be, like Thaka Punch and Warlock Punch, except it can be worse a lot of times because it takes way longer to charge than those moves and has way more end lag. As it is now, its only real good use is tanking through low damage when falling so you can land a bit more safely. But it isn't even good at that, because the maximum amount of damage you can tank is strangely low. There are two ways that I'm thinking we can buff this move, one a bit more creative than the other, but before I get to those two methods, both would include the ability to cancel the move by jumping. Alright, let's get to the first method. This method involves one change, and that is to increase the armor of the move. During the transition from Smash 4 to Ultimate, a lot of moves were given extra damage, but the armor for this move wasn't changed to compensate, which is a bit weird to me, seeing that Piranha Plant's down B, which is a move similar to Mac's neutral B, can tank up to 15% damage compared to Mac's 8%. Increasing the armor on neutral B can not only allow you to tank more aerials and weak grounded attacks, but also ledge attacks, giving it an added utility that can help when edge guarding. Just increase it to 15%, the same as Piranha Plant. The second method basically completely overhauls the move. This move will be one of those chargeable moves that can be stored once fully charged, very similar to Donkey Kong's neutral B. We remove the last stage of the move, meaning that it won't have its extremely long end lag when fully charged. Also, the armor will be entirely taken out, meaning that this, along with the nerfed smash attacks, would make Mac have no armored moves. This move will have an indicator when fully charged, like when DK has smoke and an angry face when his neutral B is fully charged. And that indicator will be his fist being lit by a red fire. And lastly, the starting lag for this move would be about twice that of KO Punch when fully charged. What this move would allow for is a quick burst option that can cover a lot of ground if your opponent isn't careful. It can be used to finish a combo or catch an untech'd landing, but best of all, it can also be used as an offstage recovery. As it is now, if you fully charge the move in the air, you'll stop dead in your tracks after you travel the set amount of distance the move gives you. But use the move anytime before and you're able to fly across the air, preserving the momentum from the punch. Removing the last stage makes it so that you can preserve the momentum even when fully charged. This would be an interesting way to both let Little Mac mix up his recovery and improve it. Of course, you need to charge the move beforehand, and you're vulnerable both when charging and when using the move, but it can be a great way to make it back on stage. Like I said in the KO Punch segment, splitting this and KO Punch's commands would mean that KO Punch is done by a quick tap of the B button, and the normal neutral B is done by holding the button. I say about a quarter of a second held is enough. Next, his up B, which is of course the lackluster recovery Little Mac has been stuck with for so long. The grounded version needs no change at all. It's a good combo finisher and it's frame 3, which is just as fast as Mr. Game & Watch's up B, and even faster than Bowser's and Cloud's up Bs. I know the horizontal range isn't the best, but I'm kinda surprised more people aren't talking about its out of sealed potential, which is pretty good. As a recovery, two things bother me. One is that it travels so much less distance than the grounded version. From the ground, up B alone can take Mac all the way up to the upper platform on Battlefield, with quite a bit of distance from the platform at the apex of the move. The aerial version travels so much less distance that a short hop into up B just barely makes it to the upper platform. I would like to see a bit of a distance increase on the aerial version of up B to make it at least closer to its grounded version. I'm thinking just a tiny bit short of Shoryuken's height, but if we're lowering max fall speed, a distance increase on up B may not be very necessary. It'd still be nice though. The other thing about up B that bothers me, and is something that I actually think is a bigger problem, is the fact that it doesn't snap to the ledge when it should. Up B actually snaps to the ledge when you're using it during its first few frames, which can help since those first few frames make you invincible, but I feel like it should be able to snap anytime during the move. Let's compare this move to other recoveries with hitboxes that don't snap to the ledge, such as Cloud and Terry. You have Cloud shooting up holding his Buster Sword in front of him, and Terry spinning legs first to recover. Visually, it makes sense why the recoveries don't snap. But then we have Little Mac. I mean, he's literally rising into the air fists first. You think even with boxing gloves on, he would try to grab the ledge sooner, but no. This just makes his recovery easier to edgeguard, especially when using a counter. You thought Chrom was easy to edgeguard. Change the move so that it snaps to the ledge anytime during the move. And if you wanted to catch people off the ledge using the full move, you could try to B-reverse the move so that you'd point away from the ledge and let the whole move play out. It's not like you're going to miss this stage this way anyway, given how little horizontal movement you have when using up B. So that was one of his recovery moves. Let's talk about his other vital recovery move, that being side B. I have no issues with the grounded version, even though it travels way less distance than it did in Smash 4. It's fine for what it does at this point, but then there's the move as a recovery. Look, this is a really simple and obvious change. Give Little Mac his side B back after getting hit out of it. Look, I'm grateful this move doesn't put you in free fall like it did in Smash 4, but I see no good reason that he should be locked out of this move after using it once in the air. I'm going to list off every other character that has a side B that aids in recovery in rapid succession. Fox, Pikachu, Luigi, Captain Falcon, Jigglypuff, Peach, Daisy, Ice Climbers, Pichu, Falco, Ganondorf, Meta Knight, Pit, Dark Pit, Zero Suit Samus, Wario, Ike, Squirtle, Charizard, Diddy Kong, Sonic, Wolf, Villager, Greninja, Mii Brawler, Mii Sword Fighter, Pac-Man, Bowser Jr., Ryu, Ken, Bayonetta, Inkling, Ridley, Isabelle, Incineroar, Banjo and Kazooie, and Terry. A few of these do put you in free fall, and Wario's is a special case since it's a bike that's on a timer after it's gone. With the exception of Wario, if you get hit after using any of these side B moves, you are free to use them again. Little Mac being the only one to not get his side B back after getting hit is nothing short of being extremely unfair. So please, just let him have it. And finally, the last move I'll talk about in this video is down B. This is going to be a sort of special segment since even though the move does sometimes miss, I don't really think his counter is in dire need of a buff, but it can definitely be made more interesting. I'm actually going to go back to Punch Out for the reasoning for this change. Like I said before, one of the most important concepts to understand when playing Punch Out is counterattacking. You need to be able to counter your opponent's attack with one of your own attacks so that you can put yourself in the best possible position you can. I would like to see Max Counter be able to act differently to suit a few different scenarios and to be able to put you in a good spot afterwards. And we do that through directional inputs, like with Greninja and Lucario's counters. Here's how we do this. If you counter and hold forward on the stick, or just don't hold anything, Mac will do the regular counter he has now. This will have the most knockback compared to all the other types of hits we'll see here. Holding up on the stick will curve your punch harder so that the opponent will be sent at a very high angle, ideal for killing off the top blast zone. This move will have a bit less knockback than the forward counter. Holding the stick back will cause you to pivot around the person who attacked you and hit them in the back to send them in the opposite direction of the normal counter. This can be a good way to turn the tides while being edge guarded, but this will have quite a bit less knockback than the normal counter. Holding the stick down will cause you to do a sort of haymaker which will spike, looking visually similar to Falcon's side beam. Another thing that would be cool to see is if the counter acted like a semi-reflector. Not a direct reflector like Palutena's counter, but one that would let you punch projectiles away at an angle, and they could hit the opponent if they ran into them. Mac actually has this ability in canon. Just look at him punching away these projectiles, like the manhole cover, and the soda bottle, and the toupee. Look, I'm really stretching here, okay? This is just a fun idea for a way to let Mac deal with projectiles better. Not necessary, it doesn't make much sense, but it would be cool. And that concludes all the ways I like to see Little Mac get buffed. Do I see Nintendo giving him most of these buffs, if any? Probably not. They were adamant on making him the ground-based boxer type, and given that Mac's been this way for 2 games now, I don't think they're going to change their minds on that. If I had to pick one change on this list that I would want to be given to Mac the most, that would have to be the side B resetting, because really, he should have that. It would be interesting to see Mac become a better character with these buffs, but probably some of you guys think he's fine as he is now, and if he did end up getting these buffs, it may drive some people away. Maybe because they like the strong KO punch, maybe they like the super armor, maybe they like the polarizing design Mac has. I mean, hey, this current version of Mac is the one I fell in love with. I just think that it would have been great if Mac was better from the start, but such is life. We don't get everything we want. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have a great day.
Knockout!